Returning now to the US, where President Donald Trump has signed a new executive order on immigration. Josh Blackman is a constitutional law professor at South Texas College of Law, and he's also a legal blogger. I asked him how different this executive ban is compared with the previous one, and whether it has the feeling of having been gone over with a fine-tooth legal comb.
The biggest difference between the old executive order and the new executive order is who it applies to. The most obvious difference is that it doesn't apply to nationals from Iraq, but that's really a fairly small difference. This order does not apply to people who are called lawful permanent residents, what we call green card holders. It doesn't apply to people who have a strong connection to the United States through perhaps a relative or a loved one. The primary people who will be impacted by this order are, for example, refugees and people who seek to visit the United States and who have never been here before. And traditionally, these sorts of aliens have the lowest possible set of rights in our legal system.
The new order gives no preference to Christian refugees. Is that likely to satisfy critics who referred to the last order as a Muslim ban?
The previous order never actually gave a preference to Christian refugees on its face. What it said was that religious minorities in certain questions, so in a majority Muslim nation, Christians would have been a minority. It makes no reference to religion and even goes so far as to disavow that it's trying to favor one religion over another. The question I'll keep circling back to is, will the courts care? In any event, the new order eliminates that provision altogether, and it doesn't provide any preference for one religion over another in any respect. If the court holds that the taint that came from the president's statements over the summer remain, then there's nothing the president can do here to actually change that.
Unlike the last time, there is a 10-day lead-in time under the new order. Is that likely to reduce the confusion and travel chaos this time around?
One of the strongest parts of the new order is that it won't result in chaos. It goes into effect 10 days from today, and it's very clear that if you are not in the United States by that period, you will be subject to this ban. In the event that there are people who are considering traveling to the United States over the next 10 days, they should get on a plane very quickly. So there will be some people who actually say this is a bad idea, that if this is so urgent, let it go into effect right away.
How significant is it that Iraq is now off the list of countries on the order?
Some critics are saying that excluding one country means that now the president's picking and choosing countries based on some other motivations. That he's not doing what previous presidents have done before by focusing on Iraq. And Iraq will be able to provide stronger vetting to decide if their immigrants are posing a threat. The same cannot be said for Iran, Somalia, Yemen, and a host of other countries.
And the ban on Syrian refugees has been lifted. Will this ease the concerns of those who criticised the last executive order?
That's right. The decision to remove the Syrian refugees from the policy will weaken the argument that this is an anti-Muslim ban. The new immigration policy applies to refugees of all countries around the world without singling out Syria. And that makes it a weaker case that this is really an attempt to ban Muslims from entering the United States.
New York Attorney General Eric Schneiderman says his office is ready to take the Trump administration to court over this new travel ban. Is this likely to be delayed again in the courts?
It's really hard to say. I think a far more likely plaintiff will be someone with a relative overseas who wants to have that person admitted. But in any event, if a court decides that no matter what Trump has done, this is still a ban on Muslims, then nothing will save it.
And yes, we will be keeping a close eye on how this unfolds. Josh Blackman, thank you again for your time tonight.
Thank you so much.